Okay, welcome everyone. My name's Eloisa Ramos, and I'm here with my friend Connie.
Hello.
Hello. So we are continuing with the study of the text of A Course in Miracles. And we are on chapter 18. We just started chapter 18, the passing of the dream. And we started section 1, the substitute reality, but we left off on paragraph 7. So I'm just going to read a little bit of the other paragraphs so we can kind of catch up. Let's see, I have let me just, I don't know if you can see this. Let me just close this little message thing there. Okay, all right. So passing of the dream, substitute reality, paragraph 1, line 1. To substitute is to accept instead. If you would but consider exactly what this entails, you would perceive at once how much at variance this is with the goal the Holy Spirit has given you and would accomplish for you. Okay. So to substitute is to choose between, renouncing one aspect of the sonship in favor of the other. Okay, and the goal that the Holy Spirit has given us, of course, is in the previous section we were discussing, what the purpose of any situation is for. And so we want to be able to remember that any situation is for the purpose of truth, that we are asking for truth. And that's what the Holy Spirit, that's the goal that the Holy Spirit has given us. I say the healing of the mind, but it's the same thing, because the healing of the mind brings us to the awareness of truth. So, okay, so here, what it's saying is that if we are not following, if we're not asking for the goal of truth, then we're accepting a substitute. And obviously there can be no substitute for truth, because truth is whole and complete and total. And a substitute you choose between. So that's why line 3 here is saying renouncing one aspect of the sonship in favor of another. So we're splitting it, we're breaking it up. Okay, we're fragmenting it. Okay, paragraph 2. The Holy Spirit never uses substitutes. Where the ego perceives one person as a replacement for another, the Holy Spirit sees them joined and indivisible. He does not judge between them, knowing they are one. Okay, so that's why up here in paragraph 1 in line 3, okay, it's using the word sonship with a capital S. Okay, one aspect of the sonship. So sonship is wholeness, it's one creation. Yeah, and ego, it cannot look at wholeness. It's the belief in separation. So it's going to be part incomplete, not whole. Okay. Paragraph 3, the one emotion in which substitution is impossible is love. Okay, fear involves substitution by definition, for it is love's replacement. Fear is both a fragmented and fragmenting emotion. Okay, so anytime we are fearful, anytime we're holding on to fear, anytime we're perceiving fear, we are not perceiving wholeness. We're not perceiving reality. We're not, let's see. It's a misperception, because it's going to be fragmented and fragmenting. Okay, number 4. You who believe that God is fear made but one substitution. It has taken many forms. because it was the substitution of illusion for truth, of fragmentation for wholeness. So the Course talks about, the first split was where the mind became a perceiver rather than a knower. So the mind went from wholeness to fragmentation, which is another word for illusion. And it's fear-based. All illusion is a miscreation of fear, basically. And all of truth is a creation of love, God's love. Okay, there's only one love, and it's God's love, okay? And it's the same as truth. So, okay, so we only made one substitution. The substitution is that we believe that God is fear rather than God is love. That's the one substitution. Okay, 5. You may be surprised to hear how very different is reality from what you see. You do not realize the magnitude of that one error. Okay. Yes, so the fragmentation is just when we see with the body's eyes, all we see is fragmentation because we see objects that are separate and individual. So each one is a little piece. Yeah. So, okay, number 6. So let's see. So let's go back up one line here. But nothing you have seen begins to show you the enormity of the original error, which seemed to cast you out of heaven, to shatter knowledge into meaningless bits of disunited perceptions, and to force you to make further substitutions. That was the first projection of error outward. Okay, the world arose to hide it and became the screen on which it was projected and drawn between you and the truth. Okay, so
So it says it forces you to make further substitutions. That last bit of the line.
Yeah.
Yeah, not quite understanding why that is.
Yes. So once we accept the original substitution, okay,
Yeah.
we are perceiving everything from point of view of fear, which is that we have accepted that we are separate selves, either personality, individual personality, or a body. Okay. And once we do that, we begin to try to make sense of a world based on separation. And when we try to make sense of it, we end up having to make further fragmentation. So if you notice, everything that, like we learn in school, it's all like in hierarchies. It's all like bits and pieces that you have to piece together, kind of like a jigsaw puzzle. Okay. Because that's what it is. We collect data, all these bits and pieces, and then we try to make sense out of it. Yeah, that's what theories are. That's what most of school learning is. Organizing, hypotheses and, making observations of what we think it means.
Right. Okay.
Okay, so the whole world arose to hide our substitution. Okay, and that's why our perception is so externally focused. We're always focusing on what's happening in the world. Okay, what's happening, my town, what's happening in my neighborhood, what's happening in my family, what's happening with, my relationships. So it's all kind of a body, object, subject which means that there's a projection, if there's a separation, object body with a gap of, separation with interpretation. So that's the world that we see, but it really hides. It's really a screen, okay, on which it was projected and drawn between you and the truth. Okay. So that's why everything we see externally is fear-based. That's why we're afraid of the world. That's why, we think we have to survive. We have to, have defenses and protect the body and all kinds of things, because the world is based on a fear of being separate and on our own. Okay.
Mhm.
And so it hides the truth, because the truth is not external, it's internal, because that's where the first substitution was made. It's internally in our mind. So that's why the whole course is all internal. It's an internal exploration of our beliefs and, what am I perceiving that I am identified with that is error. And let's forgive that, and let's, bring healing to that, because it's not true. So we're trying to we're trying to bring the mind past all of the projections, and of course all the projections are all repressions. So we're trying to bring the mind back to the awareness of the truth, of wholeness, of love's eternal presence, which is our identity, our true self as one sonship. So that's the mind training. It's an undoing of all of these projected errors that
Yeah.
would then give us the clarity of the truth.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah. Okay, so number 7.
Let's see, could you just maybe read the last line? It starts talking about guilt.
Okay.
Let's
Um,
see.
okay, so let me go back to 4. So do you really think it's strange that a world in which everything is backwards and upside down arose from this projection of error? And the answer is yes, it was inevitable. Okay, for truth brought to this could only remain within in quiet and take no part in all the mad projection by which this world was made, because it's based on fear. All projection is based on fear. And it's basically fear of God. God is fear, because we think we actually separated from God and have usurped the power of God and are self-creating now. We actually believe that we are making our own life here. That I have a life, you have a life, every person has a life, and they do with it whatever they want. And, they make themselves into something. So that's called self-creating or changing myself. Okay. Okay. Call it not sin, but madness, for which it was, and so it still remains. Okay. Okay. Invest it not with guilt, the error. Okay. It's talking about the error. Okay. The error is this whole projected world of fear. Okay. It's an illusion. Okay. Because God is not fear, God is love. And that has not changed. Okay. So when we look at the world, it's saying, call it not sin, just call it madness. Okay, for such it was. Now notice that it's past tense. It's not saying for such it is.
Huh.
No, it's saying such it was. Okay, and so it still remains, because it's in our mind. All right.
Yeah, yeah.
And until we forgive that world, the forgiven world, it's going to stay as a past memory.
Mm.
So it stays in our mind as a past memory. If you notice that seeing with the body's eyes, and you understand the science of reflected light, okay, you realize that there's always a gap of time because of the distance that light has to travel. In any object that you see externally, and the time that it takes for that reflected light to come back and hit your eye. Okay. So there's always a fraction, a micro fraction of time, so that we're never actually seeing the present moment. We're always seeing the past. That's why when you talk about stars, you can actually say, okay, well, you're looking at a star, but it's not there anymore. It exploded, 1,000 years ago. But you can still see the image because it's so far away that the light may take, 1,000,000 years before it reaches the eyes. Do you see what I'm saying?
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Yeah.
so it's saying, look, this is all an error. We're perceiving something that is an illusion. Okay, because it's not actually there. It's a projection. Invest it not with guilt. Okay, don't condemn it. Don't, just because guilt implies it was accomplished in reality.
Ah.
Yeah. Yeah. So the minute we invest it with guilt, we actually believe it happened. We actually believe the separation happened. Okay. And above all, be not afraid of it. Okay. Because once we're afraid of it, then we're just supporting the error, right? Because we're adding fear. So we are continuing to fragment the error. Yeah. Okay. All right. So go ahead and read paragraph 7, Connie.
Okay. When you seem to see some twisted form of the original error rising to frighten you, say only, God is not fear, but love, and it will disappear. The truth will save you. It has not left you to go out into the mad world and so depart from you. Inward is sanity. Insanity is outside you. You but believe it is the other way, that truth is outside and error and guilt within. Your little senseless substitutions touched with insanity and swirling lightly off on a mad course like feathers dancing insanely in the wind have no substance. They fuse and merge and separate in shifting and totally meaningless patterns that need not be judged at all. To judge them individually is pointless. Their tiny differences in form are no real differences at all. None of them matters. That they have in common and nothing else.
That they have in common.
Yeah, that they have in common. None of them matters. That they have nothing in common and nothing else. Yet what else is necessary to make them all the same? Boy.
Yes, I mean, it's so simple here, right? And I don't think that I remember to do this. It's when you see some form of the original error, meaning when we substitute fear and think that, yeah, what I'm perceiving is fear, or God punishing me or something to that effect. All we have to say is God is not fear, but love. So it's a recognition that we made a substitution. The other way that the Course kind of talks about it is by saying that we made a mistake in choosing our teacher, because it always says, okay, well, if there's fear, then you chose the ego rather than to be guided by the Holy Spirit. So this is sort of the kind of saying the same thing. It's a reminder that we made an error and that we're willing to look at the error and correct it, ask for correction. God is not fear, but love. Okay. And it will disappear. So that would be a miracle.
Mhm.
Yeah. Because it's a correction in perception.
Yeah,
Line two,
just
yeah,
to remember to say that all the time.
exactly. Line two, the truth will save you. Okay. So the truth has not left us. Okay. So the truth is not going to be out in the world. So we can't find, that's why love, the eternal love, the love of God, the only love that is unconditional, okay, is not in the world. We're not going to find it out in the world. So to go out into the mad world is not going to give us the truth, okay, because it has not left us. So inward is sanity. Insanity is outside of you. Now, this is interesting because for some reason I thought that we have to look at the error, but I always thought that I was looking at the error in my mind. But what this is saying is that actually the mind that is holding the error is not our real mind. And so the it's an ego thought system that is the error. And that is actually not in our mind because it's a past memory. And somewhere else in the course it says that let's see, that the tiny mad idea that only lasted for an instant and it's no longer in the mind that made it. So I think
Say
that's,
that
yeah,
again.
that the original idea of how the ego arose, what that was, that it was a tiny mad idea, right, that entered into heaven, but it's no longer in the mind that loved it but for an instant.
Right. It's not even real. It's just
It's
not
not even
there.
real,
It's
right?
not there. Yeah.
It's not there.
Okay.
So the whole, because that tiny mad idea was given answer immediately. So all of time is really just that little instant when that idea arose, and then it was, oh, what a joke, ha ha, And so all of time is a joke because, it's a cosmic joke that we forgot to laugh, basically. So, because it never happened. So, it was like it showed up and the mind didn't take it seriously. Right.
Well, yeah, the real mind did not.
And there was no other mind. There could not have been any other mind
Right.
because,
So
yeah.
how do you explain it though? I mean, what is it's just an imagination. It's
Yeah, it's a story. It's an imagination.
a
It's a story. It's an
story.
error. It's an error. Stories are fiction. They're not reality.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's when we believe a story, it's just like Santa Claus. How many hundreds of years has that story been handed
Yeah.
down?
Yeah, we bought into the story
Yeah.
as being true.
Yeah.
Okay. That's good. It's helpful to think of it like that, just yeah.
Yeah. So, yes. Okay. Yes. So you but believe that, that you but believe that sanity is outside and error is and guilt is within.
Yeah, how funny is that?
Yeah, so it's
Mm,
backwards.
yeah, boy.
Because we believe, most of us believe in private thoughts. So we, you know, by private thoughts is, thoughts that we don't want to public. So
Mhm.
so we make a separation between public and private. So that's why there's a public self-image. And then there's a private, what I really think. What I say to you is one thing, but I may think the opposite, and I'm just not being honest. You
Well,
see what
none
I'm
of
saying?
it's true. No,
Uh, None of it is true, but what happens is that we believe that we are guilty. Okay. And because we believe we are guilty, we believe we are really bad inside, that we're
Yeah.
sinful and evil. And, if you really knew me, you wouldn't love me. So then we try to hide what we think is our true
hmm
bad self.
Yeah.
So then we have this split, right? Because we think
Mhm.
that, yeah, everybody's just showing their best face forward, but inside they're all guilty. See, that's what this is saying. This
So
is what
then
we
there's
believe.
there's a double split there. It sounds like.
Yeah, there's a lot of splits. We can split it up
Yeah,
in a lot of
okay.
ways.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Splintered off. That's it. What
yeah,
it said. Yeah. Okay.
yes.
Oh.
Yes. And, but what this is saying is that all of that has no substance at all. Okay. Um, because the truth is the truth. So error does not change the truth. Error does not have the power to change the truth. So all these misunderstandings and confusions and whatever, they're bits of data and information and opinion and judgments and, you know, uh, interpretations, all of that. Whatever shows up, we don't need to judge it at all. So anything that we see in the world does not need to be judged at all. To judge them individually is pointless. Why is it pointless? Well, we're not seeing the whole picture. So we don't have the understanding to be able to judge accurately because we don't have, because perception, seeing with the body's eyes, is fragmented, is not whole. Once we substitute fear, fear is specific. You need specific things to be afraid of, or to project fear on. So perception becomes very, very fragmented. Their tiny differences in form are no real differences at all. So none of them matter. So this is, yeah, that they have in common and nothing else. So fragmented pieces, okay, can look different, but none of those differences matter because what they all have in common is that none of them are true. So unreality is unreality. It doesn't matter, that we perceive differences and compare and judge and evaluate because none of it is true. Okay. Okay, number 8. Let them all go, dancing in the wind, dipping and turning till they disappear from sight, far, far outside of you. And turn you to the stately calm within, where in holy stillness dwells the living God you never left and who never left you. The Holy Spirit takes you gently by the hand and retraces with you your mad journey outside yourself, leading you gently back to the truth and safety within. He brings all your insane projections and the wild substitutions that you have placed outside you to the truth. Thus, he reverses the course of insanity and restores you to reason. Okay, so that's the process of the healing of the mind. The Holy Spirit will retrace the mad journey outside and take us back, through the insane projections, through the errors and the wild substitutions, to the truth. And that's, the presence of, that's the awareness of the presence of love, which is God, eternal love. Okay, number 9.
In your relationship with your brother, where he has taken charge of everything at your request, he has set the course inward to the truth you share. In the mad world outside you, nothing can be shared but only substituted, and sharing and substituting have nothing in common in reality. Within yourself, you love your brother with a perfect love. Here is holy ground in which no substitution can enter, and where only the truth in your brother can abide. Here you are joined in God as much together as you are with him. The original error has not entered here, nor ever will. Here is the radiant truth to which the Holy Spirit has committed your relationship. Let him bring it here, where you would have it be. Give him but a little faith in your brother to help him show you that no substitute you made for heaven can keep you from it.
Okay, so here he is capitalized. So we're talking about the Holy Spirit. So in your relationship with your brother, where Holy Spirit, has taken charge of everything at your request. So we want to give the situation, right? Any of our relationships, any of our situations to the Holy Spirit, to decide for me, for God, for truth. Okay, so Holy Spirit has set the course inward to the truth you share. And so the truth is what can be shared because the truth is universal. In the mad world outside you, nothing can be shared, but only substituted. Because remember that fear is personal. We can't, because it's based on separation, it's based on differences, it's based on comparison. It's not shared. We're all going to interpret things differently. So what we're afraid of is going to be a personal experience for each one of us. It's not a shared experience. Does that make sense? Only love can be shared, not fear.
Yeah, it does seem like fear. It seems like it is shared. When someone starts talking about something fearful, it's like, oh God, then you feel fearful. And,
Yes. But when they start talking about something fearful and you see that they're afraid, okay, then you have associations to what you perceive that they're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
So all those are your own personal associations, depending on your childhood.
Right.
Okay.
I see only the past.
I see only the past, and we each have unique memories of our past because they're all our own personal imagination. They're not, the memories are not whole, they're fragmented also. So that's why you can't share it because it's not wholeness. I mean, the memories, even the fearful memories, are not going to be exactly the same, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
yes. So, yeah. So within yourself, you love your brother with a perfect love. Okay. So within ourselves, okay, where the truth is, we recognize we are one self. And we recognize that we are the same. We are all created as love, the same as God. Okay. So it bypasses all of our past learning to see others differently than us. And it bypasses all judgments that we have made of differences.
Mm-hmm.
So it takes us to a place where it's none of those misperceptions have entered. And that's true perception. That's Holy Spirit vision, where Holy Spirit only, is innocence. We only see innocence. So here is holy ground in which no substitution can enter, and where only the truth in your brother can abide. So the tiny mad idea, entering heaven, is not true. Fear cannot enter into heaven, into eternal love, because eternal love has no opposites. And fear would be the opposite of love. And there would be no separation. Eternal love has no separation. So they're two, reality and illusion cannot be reconciled. They're not in the same realm of reality. So they don't interact, they don't conflict, they don't oppose.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So here you are joined in God. I mean, that's basically heaven, as much together as you are with Him. Yeah, the original error has not entered here, nor ever will.
Mm-hmm.
So the opposite, there is no opposite to eternal love. So there is no fear. So that's heaven. Here is the radiant truth, to which Holy Spirit has committed your relationship. And that's where Holy Spirit wants to take all of our relationships.
Mm-hmm.
So give him a little faith in your brother and help him show you that no substitute you made for heaven can keep you from it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. So, okay, number 10.
I like that. Give him but a little faith in your brother. It's got to start there.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
Yeah.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Okay. Did you want to go, or I can go?
Go ahead, Connie.
In you, there is no separation, and no substitute can keep you from your brother. Your reality was God's creation and has no substitute. You are so firmly joined in truth that only God is there. And He would never accept something else instead of you. He loves you both equally and as one. And as He loves you, so you are. You are not joined together in illusions, but in the thought so holy and so perfect that illusions cannot remain to darken the holy place in which you stand together. God is with you, my brother. Let us join in Him in peace and gratitude and accept His gift as our most holy and perfect reality, which we share in Him.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so there is no separation, there is no ego, and no substitute can keep you from your brother. So fear is also made up. It's a substitute that we made. And so because it is not a true creation, it does not have any power to change God's will. So we cannot be separate from anyone. Our reality was God's creation, and it has no substitute. Yeah, he loves you both equally and as one. Okay, so that's the the letting go of differences and of specialness and of the idea of scarcity, because there's no basis for making those judgments if God created us equally and as one. Yeah, and so as he loves you, so you are. So we cannot be anything other than how God created us. And he created us in love, as love. Yes, so God is with you, my brother. So if we remember that, I think that, it really helps to bring back our perception when we are stuck in the judgment, when we want to, when we want to judge and compare and attack or whatever. So let us join in him in peace and gratitude and accept his gift as our most holy and perfect reality, which we share in him. Yeah. Okay, so, okay, 11. Heaven is restored to all the sonship through your relationship, for in it lies the sonship, whole and beautiful, safe in your love. Heaven has entered quietly, for all illusions have been gently brought unto the truth in you, and love has shined upon you, blessing your relationship with truth. God and his whole creation have entered it together. How lovely and how holy is your relationship with the truth shining upon it. Heaven beholds it and rejoices that you have let it come to you. And God himself is glad that your relationship is as it was created. The universe within you stands with you, together with your brother. And heaven looks with love on what is joined in it, along with its creator. Yeah, there's another part. Was it at the beginning here where it said that there's nothing apart from us, that both time and eternity are in our mind? Did we read that at the beginning?
I know you were talking about time, but I don't remember reading about that at the beginning here of this section.
Yeah, it was, maybe it was over, might have been, let me see. Oh, I think it was in the other class. We were on, let me see, it was on chapter, yeah, it was, I can find it real quick.
Yeah.
Yes, it's chapter 10, the idols of sickness. Yeah, it says, nothing beyond yourself can make you fearful or loving, because nothing is beyond you. Time and eternity are both in your mind and will conflict until you perceive time solely as a means to regain eternity. You cannot do this as long as you believe that anything happening to you is caused by factors outside yourself. So this is kind of saying the same thing here. Okay, there's nothing outside of us. So don't attribute causality to factors outside yourself. because nothing outside of ourselves is causal. It's a projection. It's all an effect.
Oh, it's tricky, but with, when you start thinking about the body, so that's the only time that time really kind of comes into play.
Yeah, how so, Connie?
Well, and I know the body is not real either. So it is all made up.
Yes, so that's the interesting thing, because the body is part of the external world. Yeah, so the body itself is also a projection.
True.
Yeah, it's also a projection of the ego.
Looking at like that is really, the body is outside. Yeah.
Yeah, because the mind is the projector.
Yeah.
So that's why the body is not causal, because the body is also an effect. And you want to bring everything back to the mind that is causal. Yeah.
Just forget about the body.
Well, so the body, the Course says it's an instrument of communication. So it's going to, the mind will have a use for the body as long as, we believe we're in time. But it will be an instrument of communication that will, let's see, can be used by the Holy Spirit to teach truth. Yeah. And that's what we want to use it for, is to teach love and truth and practice forgiveness with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why, heaven is restored to all the sonship through your relationship. Okay. For in it lies the sonship, whole and beautiful, safe in your love. So the practice of forgiveness is really sort of the groundwork, because when we relate to others, most of the time we're relating to them body to body. And that's when we perceive attack. And so that's when we want to practice forgiveness. Yeah. Okay, number 12.
Whom God has called should hear no substitutes. Their call is but an echo of the original error that shattered heaven. And what became of peace in those who heard? Return with me to heaven, walking together with your brother out of this world and through another to the loveliness and joy the other holds within it. Would you still further weaken and break apart what is already broken and hopeless? Is it here that you would look for happiness? Or would you not prefer to heal what has been broken and join in making whole what has been ravaged by separation and disease?
Yeah. So, I mean, the substitute, is the fear. It's fear. So, the minute that we're fearful, we know that it's time to ask the Holy Spirit for help, because, well, it's a recognition that we're making it. So it's a recognition that we made an error. We chose again, and we chose separation instead of love. So that's why the practice of forgiveness returns us back to the little willingness of wanting only the truth. And it it's the practice of it that says, I am willing to do, this so that Holy Spirit will show me the truth, so that it can correct my perception. Yeah, because to go back to believing we are separate will bring up fear. And that's the echo of the original error that shattered heaven. Okay, not in truth, but in the story.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because once we're in fear, it's as if we have lost peace in heaven. And what became of peace in those who heard? Well, there's only conflict when there's fear. Because we're seeing, opposition, we're seeing a threat to the body, we're seeing injury and death and pain and, bits of pleasure here and there. So we're seeing we're seeing what is not eternal. And we're believing that that's what we are. So return with me to heaven, walking together with your brother out of this world and through another. So because the Course talks about the real world. So that's the other world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It refers to it as the happy dream also.
Mm-hmm.
To the loveliness and joy the other holds within it. So it's a happy dream that we would walk through. Would you still further weaken and break apart what is already broken? So why would we want to do that? The world, as a projection of separation, is already weak and broken. So do we want to add to that? No, we don't.
No, we don't.
No.
But
Yeah,
we
and
keep adding to it.
but what?
But we keep adding to it. We forget. Yes. Okay.
Yeah, we've kind of developed
Yeah.
a little bit of a, what's the word?
Hmm.
Upside down taste for drama and conflict. Yeah. Yeah, but it's not happiness. You see here that you would look for happiness? No, it's just maybe excitement, with sadness, but it's not happiness. Or would you not prefer to heal what has been broken? Yeah. And join in making whole what has been ravaged by separation and disease. So that's basically the call of A Course in Miracles. It's calling on miracle workers, miracle workers. And, the only, if I remember correctly, the only job of the miracle worker is to, to undo fear, if I remember correctly. Because, fear blocks the miracle. And fear is the is the substitution that we make. So it's the error that we're working to release and to heal. And that's basically what sickness is. That's what disease is. It shows up as sickness because it's a denial of truth. It's a denial of our true creation as one self, one holy self. Okay, number 13. You have been called together with your brother to the most holy function this world contains. It is the only one that has no limits and reaches out to every broken fragment of the sonship with healing and uniting comfort. This is offered you in your holy relationship. Accept it here, and you will give as you have accepted. The peace of God is given you with a glowing purpose in which you join with your brother. The holy light that brought you and him together must extend as you accepted it.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Holy light.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and the word comfort here is really important because
Mm.
I think I was just watching something that someone told me about on YouTube, and it had to do with addictions. So the idea of discomfort, was a big part of that. Because we're looking for comfort really in any addiction. Okay.
Mhm.
And we're not going to find it. It's temporary.
Yeah,
Whatever that is, it's a substitute for the uniting comfort that comes with, the Holy Spirit healing.
and that goes for chocolate too.
Yes. Uh-huh.
It's
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
comforting for a
Absolutely.
moment.
For a moment. Yeah. And that's what substitutes are.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll remember that more easily now. Substitutes.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. So you want to be
Yeah,
present when you're craving that chocolate. You want to be present and you want to go into the discomfort.
yeah, or whatever it is you're wanting. Yeah,
Yes, because
yeah.
because under there is going to be guilt, basically. That's the bottom line. And you want to be able to turn that over to the Holy Spirit, to forgive
So
that.
guilt is under the wanting.
Yeah,
Want
yeah,
that's hard to kind of unravel in the moment. Okay, so let's see. I'm wanting to watch a particular something on TV, or say, let's say.
yes.
So how is that guilt?
Well, first of all, it's a distraction. You're looking for a distraction.
Yes,
Okay,
okay. Yeah,
so
it's a
so then it's
distraction.
a distraction. So you want to look at, what do I want to be distracted from that is
Mm.
uncomfortable? Yeah,
Mm. Mm. Maybe just want something to do.
exactly. Okay, so if I don't have something to do, I am not comfortable with that.
Hmm. Okay, yeah, that's good to look at.
And you want to
Yeah,
sit with that.
yeah.
hmm
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
hmm
just with anything, yeah.
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 Okay.
Huh. I'm just writing that one down
Okay.
just for a reminder. Well, hello, sweetie.
Okay.
Oh.
So there's little kitty.
And there she goes.
Okay, so
Okay.
that's the passing of the dream, section 1, the substitute reality.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. The next section is the basis of the dream. I would have thought that would come before, but maybe not.
The basis of the dream, huh?
Huh. Yeah, okay.
And why do you think that that would have come before, Connie?
Just seems like we would want to do the basis first before we get into substitutions. I might have it backwards. Apparently, I do.
So this basically just kind of gave us it's the foundation for saying, look, this whole world arose out of one substitution.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
Okay.
mm-hmm.
We substituted fear, okay, for love.
Okay.
And I think it's just going to go on into explain that substitution and the basis of the dream. The basis of the dream is fear, right? Because it brought this whole world up and it's illusion. So now it's going to expand. I you know
Yeah,
I'm guessing it's going to expand on the foundation for the dream. because
Mm.
there's love and fear, one, and they give rise to two worlds, real world and a false world, true perception, false perception.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I think it's just going to go further into the error, because
Mm.
the whole point is that we have to be able to look at the error to see
Yes.
that that there's no value there, so that the mind doesn't want it anymore.
Yes, really look at that error.
Mhm.
Really look at it.
Because
Yeah,
remember that
that's
anything that we believe, we give value to.
mhm.
So the belief in separation has value to us as long as we think that it gives us something that we want, as long as we see a benefit, we're going to be sick. So sickness doesn't just happen. There's a benefit in there for us. There's some kind of value that it has for us. Yeah. And it's a denial of truth. Sickness is a denial of truth. So so to deny the truth and to say that it has value, well, we think that we're going to be punished, right? If we if So for a lot of us, we think that we're guilty, and if the truth comes out, we're going to be punished by God because we think we're sinful.
Mhm.
Yeah. So we quote unquote deny the truth. Okay. Even though it's not really the truth, we think it's the truth. Okay. When we're little, it's like, okay, your sister's crying. What happened? Okay. So you make up a story because, okay, so I hit her. Okay. But she started it first and she deserved it. She called me whatever, whatever, whatever. Okay. So we think that that is the truth, that the truth is going to get us into trouble. So from the get-go, we teach ourselves to be afraid of the truth.
Mm.
So we become very good at deception, self-deception. Some of
Mhm.
us practice it more than others.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Are we still taping?
Yes.
Oh,
We can stop. So,
I don't see. Yeah. Okay.
all right. So yeah, we'll continue next time. And
Okay. Very good. Thank you.
all right. Thank you.
The base